let's take it back out, clean it up, get it polished up, ready for use. And we'll fit that bearing. We'll fit that crankshaft, rod bearing. We'll fit that to the crank on the workbench over there. That way, when you bring it, put the piston in there, and bring this, you've got the correct number of shims ready to go in there. Even though it's pretty good work area in this one, the 1.5 is it's quite restricted. Even on this engine here, you can see someone has welded that yoke, that bracket there, hold the governor weights. They've brazed it in place, brazed it to the flywheel spokes. You know, I mean, it's strong and secure, but yeah, and I guess it went on and ground corn that day probably. You know, got it done. Yeah, you just poke the torch over in there, hold the rod and let it melt. This is a pretty rough engine. Someone's painted it, but and there's another pulley. You know, we'll have to get that thing off of there. So, but what I'm going to do right now is get that head off yonder and look at them valves. Let's get on with that. Breather. Well, them valves looks pretty good, but that was that's some really good glue on that gasket. Yeah, something's been living down in there, so the back side of that valve may not be good. Yeah, we'll get to our baby for that. And now we got a fuel pump. And this part, it goes like that. Oh, someone has rebushed that one. We may need this in that project, that international project. But that's the way you remove a fuel pump from a well, valve seat there and its head right there. And, you know, I figured, you know, any time, just kind of thinking out loud, that anytime you was going to do more than one or two or something, you know, make a jig. So on this table here, I got 3 set up, sir, kind of color coded. You can put that right in there, and that way you can work on that head right there. And it's set fast, you know what I mean? You can do whatever you need to do down in there. And there's some distance down there to give you some room to put a cloth to catch that ball when you drive it through. Good threads. Well, I'll have to run a tap down through there. But I'll show you something. I was perusing upon Harry's old engine. That's a very good source of information on the YouTube here. Is Harry's old engine. Thumbs up. Well done. That's a very good resource right there. But I'll show you something in answer to a question that I just read on Harry's old engine. And the question was about the let's see, I'll show you one up. Here's one. These rear breathers, whatever the number is, it's usually on there. But 2 bolts holds that late model together, and this right here is that's a 4 bolt. You know, it's different. And to answer the question on Harry's old engine was about these rear breathers. And I'll show you something. The little metal flapper, the schematic there shows a little metal wafer thing there with some legs on it and a rivet and a leather. And that's some leathers that I cut to go on them, but it's a dampening effect. And these check valves on the Type M, they do have a spring. It's very lightweight, but they do have assistance to hold this leather to the seat. It's not a free floating. It's very low tension, but it does have a spring and a leather in it with a rivet holding it together. Check the playlist there. It's there.